Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Andrea and I have been selling on Etsy for 8 years. I have an embroidery business on Etsy and that is what I have been doing since I was a senior in high school. So this YouTube channel is just where we talk about my Etsy shop journey, things I've learned in the past, success stories, and all of that sort of stuff. We talk about Etsy on this channel. So if that is what you're interested in, you are in the right place. Today specifically, we are going to be talking about one thing that I see sellers let this stop them from selling on Etsy all the time, and I don't want that to be you. So we're going to be talking about something that should not stop you from selling on Etsy. Okay, so first things first, I had trouble choosing between two things that I felt like was the most common reason to get stopped that are silly reasons. And one is fees, but we talk about my opinion on fees on this channel way too much. I have some hot takes. Basically, long story long, I do not think they're high. They are not as confusing as everyone makes them out to be, but you can just stalk this channel if you want to hear my opinion on Etsy fees. There are plenty of videos where I go into it. Let's talk about the one thing that I think more often than not stops people from selling their handmade items on Etsy, and that is shipping. Do not let this be you. I cannot even tell you how many times I'm talking to friends or talking to vendors or seeing Facebook posts where people want to stick to a local pickup option. They want to stay selling in Facebook groups, all of these things. They don't want to sell their products online because of shipping. And I really don't want that to be you, because it really is not hard at all. I have a super simple 3-part formula for what you need to ship, which we're gonna dive into later in this video, but I wanna just break down why I think this happens and why I think people let this stop them from pursuing a dream, from pursuing selling their products online, a larger customer base, more profit, more revenue, all of those things. They let shipping stop them, which is just so silly. I truly believe that the reason why people let shipping get them so overwhelmed is just at the fear of the unknown. I think we're in a part of time where we don't often mail things to each other. If you're not an e-commerce seller, the odds that you've even sent a letter, you could probably count how many times you sent a letter on one hand, outside of invitations to something. It's just not that common. And I feel like people are how do I get it to someone? I don't really know how to do it. And it's just because you have a fear of the unknown. You don't know what to put it in. You don't know about postage. All you hear about is horror stories about the USPS losing packages. And it just sounds so much more overwhelming than it really is. And it's this idea, and I think this happens a lot. It happens to me all the time, where my thoughts about something, when I get overwhelmed, it's because I'm creating this big cloud of confusion about what something is without actually diving into it and just doing it and learning that it's not nearly as complicated as it actually is. And that is definitely something that is what happens when people are scared to ship stuff. They make this big confusing cloud of things that need to happen to ship their items, when in all actuality, 2 things need to happen to ship your items. And they just overcomplicate it to no end, and it makes it so much harder to sell online, and to the point where they never do it. So I really think it's just fear of the unknown. Once you start actually shipping stuff, you will learn that shipping the items, getting the items in the mail, is the easiest part of selling something online. Shipping your items is the easiest part of selling something online, and I honestly mean that. Getting the sale, organizing your time, making your product, all of that stuff is harder than actually shipping it. If all I had to do was mail my products, my job would be so easy. It'd be like a 2-hour-a-week job. So don't let it overwhelm you. It literally is the easiest part. It's the easiest part of selling items online is the postage. And part of that is because Etsy makes it easy, but so does Shopify. Literally every platform outside of someone Instagram DMing you, but then you just go make an order. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's the easiest part of selling your products online. So let's break down. I'm not a huge educator. It's my 3-step framework, but I do feel like I have, with shipping specifically, a very, very easy way to break down what you need to ship an item on Etsy. It is extremely simple, and it's meant to be like the least complicated way to get something in, like, out into the world. And yeah, let's talk about that now. The first thing that you need to ship an item on Etsy is just an item to ship, which you already have. I'm assuming that if you are letting something stopping you, if you are letting shipping stop you from selling on Etsy, you already have a product that you sell. Maybe you make it for friends, for gifts, and you just don't want to go through the hassle of mailing it. So the first item you already have. An item to sell, the first thing you need to ship is your actual item that you are selling. The second thing that you need is a safe way to package it. So, and this is all, like, this is so broken down that it's like, you're gonna be like, duh, but it truly is a simple, don't overcomplicate anything. Is a safe way to package your item. So the thing that I do over and over and over again, like I mentioned, I'm 8 years in, so there's nothing in my shop that I'm like, I don't know how to ship this. Like, nothing. Everything we sell, I know how to ship just fine. But if you are new and if you have like a fragile product or whatever, I guarantee you're not the only person in the world to have shipped this product ever. And so just go on Pinterest, Google search, literally like how to package a scrunchie. I know that's not fragile. How to package a coffee mug. Or like Pinterest search coffee mug packaging. Get some inspiration, see how other people are doing it. If you are at a complete and total loss, spend the $15 to buy your item from someone on Etsy. I guarantee you that will be money well spent, because all you have to do is make $15 back and see how they packaged it. I've done that before where I, like, in the early days, I like didn't know how to package this particular item. I wanted to see how my competition was doing. And so I ordered a thing and I just saw how they packaged it. That is like the three like quick ways to get packaging inspiration, is to go to Pinterest, Google, or literally just order the same item on Etsy and see how they do it. For actual resources, the only two sources that I strongly recommend are Uline and Amazon, for like mailers and bubble wrap and boxes and all that kind of stuff. Uline does tend to have cheaper prices in bulk, and they have basically everything you could possibly imagine. They have a high shipping cost, but just make sure you're doing the actual math. Don't let the shipping scare you. And then Amazon's really good for obviously low shipping, but they have a lot of stuff too. Like, we buy some mailers off of Amazon, all of our packaging tape, things like that. So go to like the internet to search how you want to package it, and then Amazon or Uline to actually get the items to package your handmade product. The third and last thing that you need, I'm not even kidding you, you only need like basically two things. You need three if you count the item. The third thing that you need is the dimensions and the weight of your packaged product. So once you have your product all packaged up into a box or a mailer or whatever, get out a tape measure and measure the length, width, and the length, width, and height of your product. And then you need to weigh it. So you can weigh it a number of ways. Obviously, this is in ounces, so like a normal home scale won't work, but you can use a postal scale, you can use a food scale, or if you do not want to invest $30, which I know might sound trivial to some people, but it also, whenever you're starting a business, there's like, you know, there's costs, and so you're just like, I'm sick of spending money. You can take that package if you're going to be selling similar items over and over again. So say you're going to sell a sweatshirt, slip it in the mailer, and you can take that package to the post office and they will weigh it for you. The only advice that I have is to either bring your most common size or your largest size. That way you kind of know like what, that way you kind of know what your heaviest item will be. Because you don't want to weigh a small and then consistently sell 2XLs and they might be like a little bit off. That being said, you just can bring it straight to the post office. They'll weigh it for you, write it down, and then bring it back. Once you get a lot of items, you'll become really good at like guessing. I weigh my items when I list them sometimes, but most of the time I'm at home. The postal scale's at the shop, the items at the shop. I just guess And I'm like usually not wrong. Okay, so like you'll get good at guessing what items will weigh. Anyways, all you need to get, the third thing you need to get is the weight and the dimensions of your package. Once you have those two things, once you have your item safely packed and the weight and the dimensions, you just go to Etsy and literally click on the order. Like when someone orders something, you click on the order, you hit get shipping labels, you type in the dimensions and the weight. You can pre-save packages, like if you're gonna consistently use the same box in your Etsy settings, but that's a different time. Don't overwhelm yourself with those kinds of details. You literally just type in the dimensions and the weight. Etsy auto calculates the rate that you need and what you need to ship it. And then you buy the label and you put it on and you take it to the post office and you're done. Obviously, shipping can be more complicated. Like you can use UPS or FedEx or USPS, but I strongly recommend to take the first step. Also, like you can do branded packaging and you can worry about, you can do all of that stuff, but I really do think that anything outside of the three things, your item, your packaging, and your weight and dimensions, anything outside of that is really just part of that big cloud that's overwhelming you and is not necessary in the beginning. We literally, in the very beginning, shipped our packages with manila envelopes, handwritten, and we brought them to the post office, okay? And then we learned about label paper, and then we learned about Etsy labels, and then we learned about mailers, and then we learned about custom mailers. And so it wasn't until very, very late in my business did I add a thank you card, brand my packaging, discover FedEx home delivery, all of those sorts of things, and our business is just fine. So I really, really think that all of the things that you see on TikTok or Instagram about cute packaging ideas and blah, 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 they make you think that you have to have all of that to ship something when you really don't. And it's just part of that huge cloud that's overwhelming you and stopping you from starting your business, which I don't want. I really do think that you will miss out on more revenue and all of that stuff if you wait to figure it out absolutely perfect and get to the last step rather than just taking the first step. You do not have to overcomplicate shipping in any way. And I think that sometimes people forget in the beginning, and I am guilty of this too, that you can just tweak stuff. And so that's something that I am learning now 8 years in, is that if I want to start something, I can just start and tweak it later. There's no reason to wait until I have everything completely figured out. Just start and tweak later, make small investments so you can't lose a lot and just keep tweaking over time, which when I look back at my business is what I've done this whole time. And so definitely I recommend that with shipping, to not let the huge cloud of overwhelming things that shipping could be overwhelm you from what it needs to be, what you actually need to do to just get started with your business. Truly, this is something that once you start doing it, once you just get the tiniest bit of experience under your belt, like 10 packages under your belt, you will realize that being overwhelmed by it was silly. And so I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want you to stop. I really don't want people to not start an Etsy shop over something that is truly not overwhelming and not a big deal. So that is why I sound so fired up in this video, because I don't want that to stop people from pursuing something that could be a huge game changer for them, or it might feel like a crossed off goal, or like just, I don't know. I don't want it to stop people from actually selling on Etsy. So if you are trying to grow on Etsy or you are considering selling on Etsy, I hope this video was motivating. And we talk about Etsy all the time for beginners all the way up until like more advanced sellers that have been selling on the platform for a long time. We talk about Etsy on this channel 2 times a week. And so if that is what you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and I will be cheering you guys on. You can leave a comment saying hi in the comment section of this video. But anyways, yeah, make sure to subscribe and thank you so much for watching.